Hello my brothers and sisters in nerdiness, welcome back to the Spider's Web, and as you can see we are doing another one of our MDF buildings. Thanks to Andy from Wigan Wargames for purchasing these and letting me make them up and paint them. The one we're doing now was chosen by Solo Co-op Gamer, and it is option D, which is Middle Eastern building number 6. So what we need to do is we need to go over to our destructions. This is an easy one to put together. I didn't really need the destructions for this, but just so you can follow along at home and see how easy this is, I'm going to bring up the website. So it's Blots Terrain, that will do. There we go. So we need Wargames to, in fact we can go down to there and to 28mm. None of those. Is that Middle Eastern? That's Middle Eastern. And we want building number 6, which is that one, and we want the assembly destructions. Okay, so we can leave that up and running so we can see what we need to do. But as I said, this one is very, very simple. So we have our glue. We have a little bit of MDF that I'm using to put the glue onto. We have brush to apply the glue. We have some water to clean the brush. And we have some paper towel to dry the brush after we've wet it. We also have our knife of opening to remove these from the sprues if need be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so we can, in fact no I'm not, let's go back to the destructions first of all. It says we need to remove, we'll remove the pieces that we need to remove first of all. So it's the 4 walls and the base. So 4 walls, that's not a wall, this is a wall. And we have that bit there to come off, that bit there to come off, and these have been washed already. As I showed you in the first video, we wipe each of these down to get rid of some of the burn marks and clean it up so it actually paints up rather well. So we have the 4, sorry, we have the 2 side walls, and then we have 1. That one came off quite easy. Some come off easy, some don't. 1 and 2. And then we have the base, which is this. And there. We'll pop that to one side. So we have the base. We have that wall. We have that wall. We have, oops, that wall, and we have that wall. So basically you could almost say that it's near enough done. You can see how it fits together. You can see what things are for. It's simple. Nothing's as simple as it seems. In this case, it is. It pretty much is. You could do this without having, without having the instructions. But let's zoom in a touch so you can see what we're doing. let's start off glue. I will squidge some out on the squidge. Technical term means put. Yeah. So we make sure we have some on the tabs, on the edge. We'll have to glue this ferrule onto the handle of the brush. It's a little bit loose, as you can see. I think it's with being in water a little bit too much. When I've done previous ones of these, I just left it in the water and it's done what, you know, basically doing what you're not supposed to do with a brush. So we've got the glue on and we place it in the appropriate hole. So I'll wash the glue off now and try it out a little bit on the paper towel, and then we'll go in and wipe up any squeeze out. Just like so. That was so hard. I've got a headache now. Okay, so next job is this one. Let's go and fly a kite. No, let's go and do this. So we apply the glue once again to the base, making sure we get some on the tab. And we want some on there. We want some on there, on that edge, but we don't want any on the outside edge of this. We just want some on the inside edge, because there's only this bit that's going to get glued to anything. There we are. So that's that bit done. Next, looks like it's that bit, yeah. So let's do this bit now. I'm going to rush through applying the glue and fitting it together, then I can wipe up on the squeeze out later on. Let it just rest for a few moments. Give glue the chance to settle a little bit and grip. Again, we're going over edges, and in this case both sides of the tab, because this is going to be in the base, so we need to make sure that this is not going anywhere. And we'll place that in there, and then we do that. And the final one for the walls is this one, and again we go all along the bottom, and doing both tabs, but we need a bit more glue on this, so I'll just squeeze a bit more out. That's better on all sides of the lower tab, and then we need some on the sides, just because it's being attached to the wall, and on here and this side as well, on the bottom of the tab, on the top of the tab, and on the inside of the tab, not on the outside of it. and then that can fit nice and snugly in there. There we are. Now I'll just wash my brush. Bit of water in there. Just dampen a touch and just wipe off, making sure that there's no raised parts, that it's all flattened down, because the last thing you want to do is have a little raised area on this, because it doesn't look right. Although saying that, when we come down to finishing this off properly, you're probably not going to see the raised areas. There we are. And again, don't forget, we need to do the inside as well, because the roofs on these are not going to be glued in. They're going to be removable. Now, the first one I did on this, I've done this one already. It was one of the double ups, and I accidentally glued the roof on it. There was a little bit of glue on some of these. In fact, I'll show you in a bit what happened. It's easy to replicate. So let's go back to destructions. We've done that bit. We've done that bit. So let's scroll down. Now we've got this bit to do. So this bit, again, is easy. Put bliss to one side. Everything about this kit is simple. There's no faffing about. You don't need to look at the instructions to put this together, really. As I said, I'm just put the instructions up on this just so you can follow along. But it's very simple to work out where things go and how things go. These Middle Eastern kits are really, really nice. Won't mind getting some of the Middle Ages kits to go with the Vikings miniatures I've got. But that's in time. That's in time. Okay, so these little pieces, as you can see, there's two different sizes. Okay. Now these different sizes, now these bits here, as you can see along the top edge of each of the walls, there are a series of holes. These holes are to house these tabs. Now these will stick out, so don't make sure you don't put too much glue on these tabs, because, as I said, they stick out and you don't want the glue to be on the outside bits, so just put a little bit on the sides of the tabs. You don't even really need to have them on the side of the tabs, but because it's going to glue and sit rather nicely in there without having any on the tabs. And then once you've done that, you push it through so that this solid bit is on the inside. That's the bit that's going to hold the roof on. And what had happened is I had a little bit of squeeze out on here, which I hadn't noticed. And I put the roof on just to take a photograph to show sorry, I took a photograph so I could actually send it to Andy to show him what I'd done and how it looked, and then didn't bother taking the roof off and went to bed, because I did this first one at night. Woke up the following morning, the roof was firmly attached. As I said, there was squeeze out on the top levels, and you know, stupid me, it was late at night, wasn't concentrating, and left the squeeze out. On the ledge here, and ended up gluing the roof on, and he's not particularly bothered. It was a double up, so it was just that one, because I made sure, rather than actually gluing them all on, I made sure and asked, and he said he would prefer them to be removable. So because he preferred them to be removable, I am keeping them so that they aren't permanently attached. But again, it's just one of those situations where if you're not careful, mistakes can happen. So that's why I say get rid of squeeze out. Squeeze out on anything when you're doing wood is not your friend. It does show that you've got enough, if not too much, glue on the joint, but it's also, you're also making sure that everywhere is going to get what you call it, attached fully. So last bit, and I'm going to show you what I do with what I've done with these ones before we get around to painting them. But I will do that at the beginning of the painting video, because I haven't got all the stuff handy at the moment. We've been doing a little bit of sorting out and tidying up, and I've put things away and I don't know where I've put them. So there we are. That is that. So once again, brush gets washed, excess water taken off, and we just go over and make sure that all the squeeze out is taken care of. Don't need to bother on the underside because you're not going to see that at all, but on the top you really need to make sure. I mean, obviously if you've got it so it's running down the walls, you've definitely put too much on, but you know, you don't need it. I just need a little bit more of this here, because we have a couple more things to take care of. So that's basically the walls and the basic structure done. What we need to add now is door, roof. So this piece here contains the door. So what we'll do is in fact, let me show you. There we are. So we've got that, we don't cut them back bits out, so we've attached them there. Now we want the door, the loft, the roof hatch and the roof. So let's cut the door out. Let's cut the roof hatch out. They're all tagged into different places, and you've got to see it's going to be bendable when you're cutting. Nothing more on that sprue, shall we say. So pop that over there. And next we have the roof part, which is sort of being a bit of a pain. To remove. There's nothing more on that sprue. Okay, so first what we need to do, glue You could put glue all over this bit if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to, obviously, but to make sure you've got a good fit, you could do that. Make sure you've got glue everywhere you need it. And on the image, on the thing, it shows that this latch here goes on the inside of the building, and it just slots on there like so. And then here for the door we have glue that goes on the sides. Oops, a little bit more, not much. So we have this that goes on the sides and the top. And we take this there we are. That's that done. And now once again, wash our brush, get the glue off it, rub it on the bottom of the container. If you have one of those fancy containers which have the grill at the bottom, or better, and we'll just make sure that any squeeze out is taken care of. A little bit there. And then we'll look at the inside of the building, around the door, and that will do. And then on this left, and there you have your Middle Eastern building, basically constructed. But as I say, I'm going to come back. In fact, once I've got the... I'm going to pause this and I'll come back and show you what I do to finish it off once all the glue is dried. So we're not finished with this video yet. Once all the glue is dried and it's solid, I'll come back and show you how I add a little more texture to this building. But for now, that's all I've got time for. I'm going to take this off just in case. But for now, that's all I've got time for. So, as I said, I will be back as soon as the glue dries. Right, okay, we're back. Get my glasses on. Good news. I've fixed my brush. Right. As I said, we'd come back and I'll show you how what I do to the walls to make them a little more interesting. You could leave them flat if you want like this, but I wanted to do something a little different with these. This is one way of doing it. I'm going to try another way on another building. But first we need some of this medium grain gel. This is from Galleria. It's basically just like a gel which has little sand or gritty pieces in it. Now I don't squirt it out or anything, I take it straight from the pot. In fact, there's some in the lid so you can see the kind of thing it is. It looks like it's a bit like moisturiser. Well, not so much moisturiser, it looks like exfoliant. So I'm going to show you on this. All I do, get some on the brush and slap it on. Just move it around a little bit. Don't go too mad near the what you call it, near these bits, because we want to keep them sticking out. But this makes it look as though there's bits stuck to the wall. It's been sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, when they've been doing the, shall we say, for want of a better word, plastering on it, bits of dust has kicked up and gone onto it, sand and whatnot been blown in. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect bridge, I guess. What we're looking for is just a texture to the wall. I'm also going to go over the edges to make sure that there's no gap showing. And basically all we do is just do that, and then once it's done, we'll just smooth it over gently, as Bob Ross used to say, 2 hers and some her. And we do that all over the walls. Very simple. So that's how we add texture on this. Well, that's how I've been adding texture so far. I'm going to try another technique on other buildings that we do, which might be easier. Then again, it may not be. Who knows? I don't know which one would look nicer because I've not tried the other technique yet, but we will find out. But yeah, I'm going to carry on with this and take it all over, except obviously the doors. And I'm not touching the roof either because I want the roof flat. I just want to add this texture to walls. I don't know why I want the roof flat, but hey, that's what I've done on the others, so I'm sticking with it. So as I say, put it on and then just gently waft over with the edge of the brush just to smooth it out. And once it's done and dries, the gel part will be clear. It dries, you know, kind of like PVA glue. It goes on white, so you can see where you're putting it. And when you leave it and it dries, it's clear. It's just the gritty parts that remain. So yeah, it may look a little bit odd at the moment with it being white, but that's nothing you need to worry about too much. Before I go on this one, because I'm not showing you how to do the full walls, I just want to show how I do corners first of all. So when I'm doing the corners, I add a little bit more in, and I try to round the corners off like so. So I just dab at the corners and leave a bit of it so the corners look kind of rounded, so it doesn't look as boxy as it does without this texture. Now, that's one thing I want to show you. The other thing I want to show you is round these nubs at the top of the wall. As I said, we don't want to go too mad with this, so all I do is I just push a little bit to it. I put the main bit lower down, as you can see, and then push the grains to these little nubs. At the moment I'm not feeling this because it's gone quite stripy. You can see the brush stroke, so I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dab over and remove these brush strokes. Now, if you oops, on the top as well, I would like to keep it a little more kind of rounded, but got to bear in mind that you don't want to put any of this on this side of the wall, because if you do, you're not going to get the roof on. That's one advantage of gluing the roofs on with this, if you're using a technique like this, and that advantage is the fact that you can just you can glue it on and then you can put this stuff all over. But as we're not gluing the roofs on, we need to keep the very top on the inside of the building where the roof is, around the roof edges. We need to keep that flat so the roof can go on. Now that's easier on a building like this, which is only one story and it's just one building. There is another one that I've done already, which is two buildings side by side. One is taller than the other, and the roof goes straight into the tall wall side. So that's where you may have a little bit of difficulty, but you know, make sure the roof is on when you're doing that bit, and when you finish, make sure you go just above the roof, and then once you've got it just above the roof, you can take the roof off and leave it how it is. You know, I'll do whatever you think is the easiest way of doing it. If you're going to make one of these minis and doing it one of these models rather, and doing it this way. Obviously, as I said, you don't have to do it like this. You know, you can do anything you want to do with your models. There is no right and wrong. If you are not a good painter, if you don't have much confidence in your painting, that's fine. Do what you can do. If you'd soon let somebody else paint your minis for you, that's fine. Especially for the person who's painting them. If they enjoy doing it, that's fine. But again, if you don't really have the confidence to do it, but you're giving it a try, no matter how it looks, it doesn't matter. They're your minis. Your minis, your models, that's all that's important. Do it to your standard, nobody else's. Don't give a stuff what anybody else says, thinks, or anything else. Your models, your minis, your hobby, your taste. Simple as that. But I've waffled on enough. I've shown you a lot of this already. So I think it's time I said farewell, get on with this, and then when we come back to it, it'll be ready for painting. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. There's more to come. I'm going to put a picture of the ones that are left to vote on, and if you can let me know which ones you want to see later on. The next one I'm going to be doing is the minaret, because that's the other one that was voted for in the initial stages. And that again was chosen by Solo Co-op Gamer. So as I say, what I'll do is I'll get these together, photograph all the ones that are left over, and then if you could leave me a message to say which ones you'd like to see me do next, after the minaret obviously, we will do that. And As I said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've got something out of it. If you have, then please give us a like. If you want to share the video with anybody, please feel free to do so. Let other people know the kind of things you're watching and the kind of things you're liking, and if you think it's useful for anybody that you know, then let them know about the video by sharing. And most importantly, subscribe. Always welcome to new subscribers. I'm always here. I will always try my best to answer every message that I get, whether it's good or bad. There will be a reply, unless it's really bad, and then you'll just get banned. But I try my best to reply to everybody, and I'm always here to help. If you've got any questions, or you want any advice or anything else, let me know. And as I say, like the video, share it with friends if you feel as though there's anything in the videos that will help them. Subscribe, and if you'd like to help out financially, there is 2 ways of doing that. There is Patreon and there is Buy Me a Coffee, but again, they're all totally voluntarily. You don't have to do it, but if you feel like you want to, then your donations to help run the channel would be greatly appreciated. But that's it for now. Until next time, as always, stay safe and take care. God bless, and bye for now.